I am here with my new good friend, Tim Roberto, and I'm happy to have him here because he and I have formed what I think is going to be a great little partnership for a great organization and one that means a lot to me. Um, and so basically, I'm just going to have Tim talk about who he is and tell me your background and what inspired you to get involved with Stomping Out the Stigma.
Well, thanks, Shannon. I agree with you. I think there's something happening between the two of us too. When you hit it off right away, there's something in there, and I'm grateful to be here. And we had a mutual friend put us together, and I thought that was
Three of them actually, and remember my neighbor, my next door neighbor,
yeah,
who somehow you knew,
yeah, Brian,
Dion,
yeah,
and then Susie. So
the,
there,
the
Diaz.
oh,
So there was three people that actually
oh,
recommended you. Yeah,
Susie
Susie
got
Diaz
in.
as well. Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
So you're
Doing-
you're pretty
I'm
popular.
doing better than I think I am.
That's cool.
I forgot about that. Yeah, so Tim Roberto, I'm the founder of Stomping Out the Stigma, and it came about because of my own struggles with mental health and addiction. And I'm celebrating 18 years in recovery this April, and on my 15th year, I wanted to do something really special because the battle was real for many years. I was a Marine, and I lost that ability. I feel like to communicate because everything was good and fine. You're a Marine, but I've come to learn like it's really not about what you do. Does occupation feed the fire, so to say? Absolutely, but it's a human condition, and so I'm grateful for where I'm at in my life. So this 15th year mark, which is incredible. A lot of people don't get that in my situation.
Right.
And so I wanted to do something special, and I live in Boynton, and I got to clean and sober and down in Deerfield Beach. So I don't know, it's just all a miracle, really. Like me just sitting here explaining to you and to the camera, what's going on. It's just kind of weird in a way.
Yeah. Well, kudos to you. Congrats
Yeah.
to you on that accomplishment because that's a big deal. The Stomping Out the Stigma, though, how did you come about
It's
starting
deep.
it?
It's really deep. So I just wanted to pay homage, some way, somehow for me, God. As I tried everything else, and I failed miserably. And um, I heard, take it back till we got sober. So I live in Boynton. I looked on my phone. I said, Boynton Beach to Deerfield Beach to 20 miles. I said, huh. But in no time at all, I was like, you know what? I'm going to commit to that. And I'm going to go on a pilgrimage. And I'm gonna be thankful. I'm going to be grateful. And I'm going to say my prayers. And I'm just going to go on this pilgrimage. And I'll show you God and all that. And then once I made the commitment, it's crazy how it started morphing. It morphed really fast because I heard the message. It was really clear. I love you too, but you're going to have about 8.5, 9 hours to walk. I want you to do more with that. And then that's where all the attention, mental health, death by suicide, alcoholism, and then, of course, being a Marine, the first responders came on the scene. But once that thought came into the process, into the manifestation, I was like, boom, that's it. It's first responders all the way. So I put it together, and it just kept growing. Next thing you know, there's a heroes dinner at the end of the walk. We gathered after a few hours. Everybody came back. We sold tickets, big dinner. I had advocates, first responder advocates, that are kind of like, I don't know about going against the grain, but they're loud about it versus maybe some aren't.
Right.
And I had presentations. I always thought presentations and education and knowledge is my greatest tool, so to say, because there's a lot of stigma to it. And so I thought, oh my God, this is crazy, man. We have the dinner. I'm starting to sell tickets. I'm like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna call it? And then it just came like I don't know any other way to say it. You can't make this stuff up. The next thing, I was like, "Oh, I got it, stomping out the stigma." Because I was walking, I'm, like, stomping.
Uh-huh.
So, stomping out the stigma, and lo and behold, my first walk 3 years ago, I walked down from Boynton. I took off from one of the firehouses in Boynton on Federal, and I made it down to Deerfield. It was really hard, and I trained too because I just know myself, like,
Yeah,
just
yeah. You
blister
can't
walk.
just do a walk like that.
Yeah, because 'cause you're gonna incur blisters and fatigue
Yep.
and, all and, I walked down, it was about 35 first responders. We had an escort down, like, it was unbelievable. And then this is I had my 3rd one, and the last one I walked 71 miles.
Wow.
I left, Green Acres, Florida, from a fire station, at 8:30 a Sunday, and I walked all the way down to Miami Surfside Memorial, where that building
Yeah.
collapsed, and it was horrible down there. There was about 92 or 98 people there, and
Mhm.
it was very surreal once I got there, but the surge going down and the awareness that was brought to the mental health needs of first responders, they're dealing with things people normally wouldn't. But I think what the biggest breakdown is going from 0 to 100 over and over and over and
Right.
over, and just what they're incurring. So there's about 30% that are truly affected by it, the trauma, PTSD, the night sweats, the drinking, some are doing substance.
So you had told me an interesting statistic that I did not know, and ironically, after I partnered with you, I started talking to some of my firefighter friends, and they had confirmed the high rate of suicide, not only in this industry, first responder industry, but in Palm Beach County. Can you talk about that?
Sure, it's blew me away too, and it was kinda, like, convicted me even more. I don't know if you've ever experienced or you people listening to this experience, I'm pretty sure you have. I think it's just part of our walk, part of our journey. Some things you just realize are the right things, and then after all this started 3 years ago, I was around a lot of Leos and first responders, and that statistic came up in the conversation that Palm Beach County has the highest suicide rate, out of any other county in Florida for first responders.
Ever find out, like,
It
why us?
uh,
I feel like Miami's crazier than we are. There's other cities, like,
my
why
f
Palm Beach County?
Yeah, I don't know because my first thought was, and I've been occupied with that first thought ever since, was, "Well, what are we doing about it?"
Right. Obviously.
Yeah, I just got an email, unfortunately, I don't know, no more than 2 weeks ago of another one that took his life.
And what's interesting is you say the word stigma, and that kind of stuff is not known to the public. So I had when I went in to partner with somebody, it
Mm,
was mental health
mm,
with suicide related
mm,
because I have personal experiences, unfortunately. But I didn't realize that this type of topic, definitely people try to push it
mm.
down. I had no idea that was going on here.
Yeah, it's still an issue today, 'cause I live it, I breathe it, like, it's part because I really struggled in the Marine Corps, and I lost that ability to communicate, everything was good and fine, and it really took its toll on me, and unfortunately, I only had a 2.5-year stint out of my 4-year commitment that I committed to, and that was brutal for me because it was kinda like my first love, the Marine Corps.
Right.
There was just such a bunch of great people, just doing great things, and the bravery and the camaraderie and the discipline. It was phenomenal,
Right.
because, it's just I always been like that. I grew up my father was a well-known doctor in Manhattan. I was born in Brooklyn, but grew up in New Jersey, North Jersey, ton of money and all that, and I'm like, almost like there's more drugs here than the hood,
Mhm.
or more dysfunction and toxic and that I don't know, I'm getting going out on a left turn right now, but I wanted to see what the other half lived like. Or what the other half lived, how they lived
Right.
and how'd they do it, and I always wanted to have I just always had that service thing in me, so, the Marine Corps was right up my alley.
Nice.
Yeah, it was wonderful, and, that destroyed me almost. It was like the worst divorce you can ever imagine. I felt guilty too, you know, a lot of guys were I left behind and, you know,
Mhm.
and so this is a tremendous way for me to make that living amends too,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, with the first responders.
So let's talk about what are the services that you guys provide for first responders?
Everything, and I mean everything, is 100% confidential because without confidentiality or anonymity, the whole thing falls apart.
Right.
Because that's the problem in a way.
You told me people are worried about it being red flagged on their health insurance. Their bosses find out, then they're probably could be, treating them differently or putting them in
Correct.
different
Correct.
positions.
Retribution.
So they can just go into you completely
Yep.
confidential, no paperwork, no health insurance. They don't have to pay you shit for
Nope.
anything. You
Nope.
just go in and you treat them, and no one knows about it whatsoever.
Nobody knows. I work my ass off. There's other people that work our asses off the entire year to be able to provide a service like this because, like you said, there's I don't do any diagnosing.
Mhm.
I don't do any invoicing. I don't do any back invoicing, any reporting to any
Right.
agencies. No insurance. Even your life insurance isn't even affected because sometimes life insurance can be affected when stuff is on the record.
Uh huh.
And that's I'm very proud of that.
I didn't even think about that. The life
Yeah.
insurance. Yeah.
I had a call yet, not yesterday, very short period, yeah, maybe within a week
Uh huh.
ago, and this guy, I'll just say a uniform
Yep.
fella, um, was blown away because he said, "Well, what do you?" I talked to him, told him what we do, and he's like, "God, that's amazing, really," because his neighbor somehow found out about
Hmm.
it. So his he goes, "That's amazing." I said, "So what do you want?" He goes, "You want my full name, my date of birth?" And I always get a little chuckle still. I'm like, "Nah, your first name's good enough."
Yeah. Like I don't need any of that
The
stuff.
guy's like,
How can I help you?
"Are you shit?" He's like, "Are you
Yeah.
for?"
Well, because we're so used to with medical treatment and
Yeah,
therapy, and I'm sure most people have
yeah,
done therapy. I've done therapy as well, but they gotta
yeah,
ask
yeah,
for all that stuff and
yeah.
backgrounds. And
And I
yeah,
just said, "Nah, man, you're cool. Your
yeah,
first name's good." But the thing is, I'm very fortunate because I have my full-time job. So I'm literally, and there's plenty of others, sure. 100% of everything I raise or we raise is goes to them.
hmm,
I don't need it.
yep,
I don't pull anything out unless it's for them. So, yeah, so, I'm very fortunate. I've been in the space, like, because of my own situation, 18 years, and over the years, I've met some phenomenal people, and they have their stories too. Everybody's got a story.
of course.
Everybody's got, and that's why a lot of them are pushed into what they're doing. But the people I deal with are all licensed clinicians,
Okay,
and I have a deal with them. I work out a deal because the organization's paying for
okay.
it. I told him I want no paper. There's nothing, Tim. Well, the only thing we have to report though is if somebody says they want
Yeah, if there's a crime or
to,
if there's
they
a
want to
crime
take
that they
their
might commit or they take
want
their
to take
life,
their
then yeah,
life.
understandable. They have that
Yeah,
ethical obligation to do
yeah,
that, I guess.
yeah. Professional, ethical.
Yeah.
Either way, it's
Well,
your life.
profession. Yeah.
Your license. You'll
Yep.
lose your license for that for not report. So I said, make sure you make that clear. That will be the only
Yep.
reporting ever.
Makes sense.
And they
You
said,
let them know that up front.
correct. And I do too.
Yeah.
And they're just they can't wait. And I've even done a couple trial runs with uniformed people. They call their EAP. I don't even get a call back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't believe they couldn't even get a call back. So
Everything's corporate.
and
Everything's corporate.
everything's corporate, everything's red tape, everything's that process. And my only process is, man, I'm so glad you called. We can help you.
Yeah.
And boom, like a day, whatever your schedule is, I can get it done. Like
That's cool.
it's wonderful. And
Do you do you have an idea of roughly how many people you guys have helped so far?
no, a lot.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to keep records either.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I just, I am a counselor too. I'm an addictions counselor with the Florida Certification Board. And I was always taught, when you document, when you're doing an individual with somebody, you document uh, ethically,
Mhm.
professionally, but you also have to also keep in mind if somebody gets their hands on it that wasn't allowed to.
Right.
So
And
i-
lawsuits.
in lawsuits,
Sadly,
yeah.
lawyers
So you
can
want to
mess
make
things up.
sure that if somebody ever got their hands on it that shouldn't have their hands on
Right.
it, doesn't really know.
Yeah.
And so that's very special to me. So, yeah, we've helped a lot of people,
That's
but
awesome.
I don't keep any records.
Yeah, yeah.
Not,
I just didn't know if you
yeah.
had an idea of like
I would say in 3
a couple
years,
hundred people.
I would probably,
Okay.
yeah, in 3 years, probably we're getting up there. Yeah. And it
That's
seems to be really picking up. This year is the busiest one so far.
okay.
So,
Well, that's good because that means that not only is the word getting out, but people are feeling comfortable enough to approach you and reach out.
yep. Yep. You got to get that trust.
Yep.
There's certain things are difficult
Yeah.
to get in. And
Right.
once you do, yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it takes off.
Let's talk briefly about the event that you and I are doing. I have had this desire to give away my car for a little while now. Just wasn't the right time. I was going to do a little bit. I was going to do something last year. Just wasn't the right
Yep.
time. I came in to end of this year with a game plan. It felt right. But for me, I wanted to do an organization that I was personally passionate about.
Mm,
So back in November, I was in a no shave for cancer event,
mm,
and I raised close to $4,000, and it was great.
mm,
But it wasn't my event, and it wasn't extremely personal to me. Now I don't want to sound callous, but
mm,
I feel a lot of the charities are heart association and cancer related, which is great.
mm,
But I never hear much, in my opinion, about mental health, especially suicide related. And I even had a couple people saying, "Be careful when you say the word suicide when you're pushing this, because there's a
mm,
stigma to it."
mm,
And I get it, but for me, I had my best friend passed away,
mm.
took his life at right after we graduated high school. That's actually his surfboard there.
Oh, wow.
Grew up with him, and I had no idea why he would do that. And we were all just left wondering what we could have done, how this could have happened. He seemed normal. And then a couple years ago, another good friend of mine who had a family took their life. And see, then you start thinking the same
Mm,
thing. Why did I not see this?
mm,
So there's a ripple effect where obviously it devastates the family, but then the close friends around too. We
mm,
all are like, what the hell could we have done? Why did this happen? So to me, I needed to get this out of my system, so to speak, and do something that I wanted to do that was severely personal to me. And I got online, started looking up some of the bigger
mm.
charities in town that deal with suicide prevention and mental health therapy. But then when I posted it on Facebook, and like we said, the three different people from totally different worlds threw your name out, including my neighbor, who I don't know him well, but
Mm.
he mentioned your name. Um, that's when I decided to reach out to you. We had that great lunch. I
Yeah.
showed you the car because I'm like, it's not going to do justice unless you see the car, because I'm talking about an older car, but this has been my daily driver. It's super comfortable. I'm going to miss the car in many aspects, but
It's meant by very,
yes, I've
very
kept
meant.
it in good shape. Everything has been fixed on it that needs to be or upgraded.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about this event. And what we're doing is this week, hopefully, we'll have the rest of the marketing done and
Yep.
we can officially go live and start the donations. But basically, May 2nd, you and I, we're either going to be here or at your studio, and we'll announce the winner, hopefully live on social media or
Mm.
whatever. But we figured $25 to enter per ticket to enter to win, or 5 for $100. We thought that was a fair
Mm.
amount to ask, and it allows people of all kinds of careers and salaries to be able to afford it and win
Yep.
that chance.
Yep.
And so, like with the charity I was involved in with the cancer in November, that's cool. People donated
Yeah.
and they appreciate it. But
Yeah.
I mean, you're not only donating now to a good cause, but you now get a chance to win a car. So I'm going to be really excited, not only because I have a number in my head that I think we're going to meet with this. I
Yeah.
really do. And it's going to be so cool when we meet the person that we get to hand the
Ah,
keys to the car to.
it's gonna
So
be
I
phenomenal.
cannot wait. May 2nd will be when we announce it. May 1st, will be a happy hour kind of final push to get final donations.
Mm,
PGA National, I told you my buddy Vinny Cuomo puts on these events. They're the biggest in Palm Beach County, and he does them quarterly, and each one has a charitable aspect. So PGA National and Vinny agreed to do our event there. So we'll have a little bit of marketing material and QR codes and whatnot for people to
mm.
donate. So if you want to be a part of that,
Is it-
Vincent Cuomo or Vincent at vincentcuomo.com. You got to get on the email list in order to go to the happy hour. But May 1st, 5:30 p.m., that'll be our final push. And then you and I will figure out when we're
mm,
gonna announce it on May 2nd. But I can't wait. We got a lot of work to do. We've already done a lot of work as it is, but the
yeah.
video's out. It
Yep.
looks good.
Yep.
People are starting to see it. It's getting a lot of views. You and I are going to hit the streets, dropping off flyers to fire
Yep.
stations,
Yep.
police stations, anyone we know using our contacts, business offices. I'm going to hit up lawyers. And we ask anybody watching this or listening to this as well, any way you can spread the word for this cause and for the chance to win a free car. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
see that often. Please help us out. It's definitely a good cause. I would like to bet that most people have had some type of experience, definitely with mental health and getting mental health and therapy.
Mm.
But I'm sure there's a good amount of people that have also experienced somebody that they've known that's taken their lives, sadly. So this is a great cause you have, and me finding out that it goes towards our first responders, which I just told you Friday, my mom took a bad fall and
Yeah.
smashed her face on the pavement, and Green Acres came and they treated her so well. And the first responders at my wife's hospital were great. So they're very, very important people in our lives, and we need to take care of them. And I had no idea that these are the things that they're experiencing. But then when you take a step back and realize the traumatic stuff they're seeing every
Mm.
day, I guess that can come to haunt you.
About 30%
Yeah,
on average. Yeah.
it's wild stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just super pumped to do this. I feel like we went over everything. How do people so really quick as far as the giveaway, I'm gonna post a link on the dashcamlawyer.com, and then we're gonna post something where people can donate on your website, which is sotsinc.org,
.org.
Stomping Out the Stigma. And then I'll try to put it on my social medias and all of Stomping
Yep.
Out the Stigma's social medias so we can try to make it as easy digitally for people to donate if they don't have a flyer. But as far as um, what was my thought? How can people, is that the best way for people to reach out to you if they are inquiring about your services, first responders? What's the best way for someone to get a hold of you that's a first responder that's just hearing about this?
Well, it would be SOTS Inc.
Okay.
STOSinc.org. The email is sotsinc24@gmail.com.
Okay.
Or you can call me,
What's your number?
561-876-8637.
That's your personal cell.
That's my
You're readily
personal.
available.
Always answer. But at 62, I can tell you right now, at 9 o'clock,
You
it's
gotta
off.
wait till the morning.
Yeah, because I got an early riser, so you got like 6 in the morning till 9 at night, man, to get
Hang
touch-
tight. Yeah, just hang tight till the morning. I'll get to you.
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. My phone automatically at 10 o'clock goes to do not disturb. So unless it's someone on my emergency list,
Yeah.
then I'm not responding back,
Yeah.
nor do I get the calls or the text.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, this was a good to have you come into the studio.
Yeah.
Again, I'm very excited about doing this. I'm glad you and I partnered up. It just, to me, it feels right. Smaller organization.
Boots on the ground.
And we have a lot of things in common, a lot of people in common, a lot of
Mm.
first responders we know.
Mm.
So I think this is going to be a good thing. It's going to be a big thing, and it's going to raise awareness to a cause that is very personal to you and I, and one that the keyword stigma, one that still has the word stigma attached to it.
Oh, yeah.
I see why sometimes, but also again,
Mm.
there's a lot of cancer foundations and heart association and other stuff, but people aren't talking about this as much as they should. And I
Correct.
don't know why.
Well, and a lot of people don't understand it because not everybody experiences it. So how can you understand something you've never
True.
experienced? You know.
They don't have the empathy in a way because they haven't
Correct.
experienced it. Well,
Yeah.
sadly, I have experienced, losing some very close people who
Yep.
took their lives. And this is kind of my way to try to pay it back to people. And it just so happens to be first responders after meeting you. And who
Mm.
better to help than the people who are saving our lives and our
Amen.
families' lives?
Amen. They're there all the time for us. They don't question anything. They just
Yeah,
respond.
yeah.
They respond.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's been fun.
Yeah. You're a good man, Shannon. Thank you for your
You are
generosity
too.
and your commitment. And
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you to you as well for doing this and establishing this organization and taking the time out to help these important people.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to your organization doing big things. And again, I can't wait to get to, not too quick, but I can't wait to get to May 2nd. I
Yeah.
really think I want to see the final numbers. I think we're going to do well.
Yeah.
I want to see the impact that this has on our community, and someone's going to get lucky and win a car.
Amen.
Cool.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Yep.